Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday evening to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there and having a great ending to your Monday, a great start to your work week out there. We got a lot to talk about in this video as, today has kind of been day one of the beginning stages of a winter storm. And really, it's going to get nothing but worse out there as ice totals have continued to kind of trend upward, but I think they're starting to level off now. We're starting to really get a good idea of what's going to happen. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to break down what we think is going to happen, and we're really going to focus in on the next 48 hours from right now. Not going to try to go past that, but really the next 48 hours is really going to cover most of the storm that we're dealing with. It's going to be a long duration event, but I can tell you this is going to last clear through the end of Wednesday, maybe into Thursday morning for a lot of folks. And I'm really talking about you, Texas, even into Oklahoma, and even a couple other states too. But this has really trended into something much more significant for Texas. So we're not going to compare it to anything. We're not going to waste our time doing that because this is kind of its own beast, if you will. So we need to figure out what's going to happen. What we're going to do here is we're going to break down how the rounds of frozen precipitation are going to kind of fly through, and then we're going to break down ice accumulations, even talk about potential sleet accumulations, and then talk about snow amounts for certain areas. And we're even going to talk about you folks around the Washington, D.C. area, because there could be a round of snow that certainly makes its way through areas of the Mid-Atlantic, like Virginia, the Delmarva area, and we're going to talk about that. And then at the very end, there's going to be a pretty potent Arctic blast that moves through the Northeast, and we're going to talk about how cold it can get and how fleeting it is, how quick it's going to move in and move out, and just talk about a couple factors with that. So if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. It's been incredible dynamic day as far as the weather. It's crazy what the atmosphere can do out there with the thunder sleet, the thunder, maybe thunder snow in some cases. Maybe it was freezing rain and it was a thunderstorm, but regardless, a lot of lightning and thunder out there. We still have some of it ongoing out there this evening. It was really cool. People tagging me and stuff throughout the day today. I love seeing it. That's the kind of stuff I love about weather. Yes, it is dangerous, but normally sometimes things that we're passionate about involves a little bit of danger, right? So, but pretty crazy weather out there today in Oklahoma. It seems like this happens at least once a year now. But anyways, we're going to try to figure it out for you folks over the next 48 hours because this is really just the beginning. It really is. So if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below, please. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get rolling here. And hit me up on Twitter, guys. The link is right here. It's a great way to just tag me and stuff. Facebook is too. Send me stuff. I might not be able to get as detailed as with the responses as I would like to, but certainly do it. And I would definitely hit the retweet button or the share button or just shoot y'all a thank you because I love seeing it. Because over here in South Carolina, we're just getting it's just 60, 65 degrees and rain. So check it out. We're going to zone in here. Winter storm warnings up now for a large portion of Texas. This is definitely going to be a Texas-sized winter storm. This has just trended into something so much more significant, right? We got winter weather advisories as far south now as San Antonio, Austin, Texas. Winter storm warning for you guys. San Angelo, hopefully I said that city right. Winter storm warnings up. It's pretty wild. Abilene, winter storm warnings. Dallas, Fort Worth, you are well entrenched into the winter storm warnings now. Oklahoma City, just advisories, but you've had some wild weather up here in Oklahoma, especially throughout the afternoon. Tulsa, winter storm warnings up barely. You're just inside the winter storm warning. I suspect that these winter weather advisories, between the winter storm warning and the ice storm warning, which is here in the purple, something would get filled in here. I think some winter storm warnings will get kind of pulled southward. That just looks kind of odd to be kind of right in between both, but we'll see what happens. Winter weather advisories as far south as the border of Louisiana and Arkansas, right down here. But ice storm warnings up for Little Rock, Memphis, several counties in western Tennessee, and even a handful of counties in areas of northern Mississippi. So it's pretty wild, guys. This is kind of the newest edition right here. We've had some winter weather advisories upgraded to winter storm warnings for northern Arkansas, southern Missouri. And we'll move a little bit further east. Winter weather advisory stretching all the way up to the far western county of Maryland and a couple counties in southwest Pennsylvania. But I would say, 85, 90% of the state of Kentucky have winter weather advisories. There's definitely going to be some active weather even in Kentucky. And I would not be surprised if some folks in Kentucky get upgraded to some winter storm warnings. We'll see what happens here. But Man, there's going to be people have been asking me too, why isn't places like Dallas under an ice storm warning? We're expecting so much ice. Well, as soon as there's the probability of some sleet mixed in with the freezing rain, they immediately say, hey, we're going to give you guys a winter storm warning. And certainly you saw that. You've been seeing it in Dallas. There was some reports of some snow in Dallas. So, if it's a pure freezing rain event, which is rain falling at the surface, but at the surface is below 32 degrees, if they think it's going to be pure freezing rain, I'm pretty sure they just go with the ice storm warning, which is definitely more of a rare thing than just a flat out winter storm warning. Winter storm warning, they're probably expecting all snow or just a combination of things. So let's talk about how this can evolve. We're going to focus on the next 48 hours, guys. So we take a look at kind of what's going on out there right now. Kind of a batch of frozen precipitation has moved through. And look at this lightning bolt north of Dallas. It's pretty wild, guys. Some convective elements. I mentioned it a couple days ago. I mentioned it this morning, and it certainly evolved. And I didn't honestly think it was going to be as wild as it ended up being. But it certainly did. I mean, there was just literal thunderstorms out there. And it's still, you take a look at the, let's go with some Arkansas, the Fort Smith, Arkansas radar. It was really heavy. Look at this. Just a all-out plume of moisture out here. The wild thing is actually, like I said, Arctic air is shallow. So you're reporting rain right here in these areas of Arkansas, right into here. But, Little Rock, we're outside of Little Rock, reporting some freezing drizzle, freezing rain. And you're wondering, what's up with this area of kind of warmer air? Well, I believe it's because the mountains and kind of western Arkansas and northwest Arkansas and just the northern portions of Arkansas, Arctic air is shallow. So when it hits these mountains, when it oozes down and hits these mountains right kind of like into here, it probably gets delayed. Now, it's not going to be denied. Eventually, you're going to get more cold air down here, but it's kind of delayed. So I think that's why you're still kind of a little bit above freezing in these areas, which is a good thing because you're avoiding some ice at least temporarily. But look at this. You got isolated reports of snow in eastern sections of Oklahoma. You got reports of sleet. Some of it's just freezing rain. So, it just depends on where you are, guys. And then you got freezing rain being reported up here too, northeast of this section. So there's a lot going on right now, and it's just multiple rounds. So you keep this going. We'll get into the overnight hours, and this round moves, and we're going to talk about this for you folks in Kentucky and Tennessee. This round moves into those areas, and then we watch our next round. If you're confused at what time frame we're at any time, back this up 1 hour. You see where it says 2 a.m., back it up to 1 a.m. because we're in Central Time. This is symbolizing Eastern Time. So already, look, more pink showing up. That's probably freezing rain, maybe some sleet mixed in. And you probably have a little bit more of a stout warm nose showing up at this point. So I reckon probably tomorrow you will deal a little bit less with sleet. And it will just be more pure freezing rain probably in Dallas. But you're still going to mix with some sleet. I wouldn't be surprised. But there is a cold dome of cold air, large area of cold air, pretty deeply entrenched into Texas. So we're waking up tomorrow morning, widespread freezing rain showing up. And this is really when the ice storm really takes a hold of Texas. Freezing rain falling as far south as potentially San Antonio, certainly in Austin, San Angelo. You're seeing it in Abilene. Look at this. You see this heavier stuff right here? There could still be some more convective in nature, maybe some lightning and thunder out there. And then this area begins to move, and certainly by this time in Little Rock, you're below freezing, and then this begins to move into Memphis and really central to northern Arkansas, especially northeast Arkansas and eastern Arkansas into western Tennessee. That's when your ice storm really consistently takes a hold tomorrow afternoon. I was really surprised. I heard people say they didn't really full out cancel school. They were doing delays in Dallas. Really weird, man. I just thought that they would flat out cancel school altogether, but maybe I was hearing wrong. But anyways, it's not going to be consistent always. It's not going to be like a consistent kind of whatever's falling is not going to just be like a moderate 48-hour event. You're going to have waves of heavier frozen precipitation. Then it's going to lighten up, and then maybe moderate to heavy to light. It's going to go back and forth. It really is. I'll stop. This is around 5 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. All-out ice storms starting to crank up for western Tennessee, northeast Arkansas, far southeast sections of Missouri. And then we keep this going. And this just area of freezing rain continues to ride over Dallas, the heart of Texas. Yeah, it just continues. And you got this odd little strand right here of frozen precipitation. And even outside of this pink area, you're still going to have freezing drizzle. But watch as we're getting to the middle of the night tomorrow night. I'm talking about after midnight. Look at this huge area of precipitation that explodes around. This is maybe around 8 a.m. Wednesday morning. Okay, it's still going. Still plenty of cold air. And now this is when I think some ice could really add up tomorrow night for areas kind of further west in Texas. And I mean, it's still freezing raining over here in Dallas and northeast Texas. But man, look at this. And then you almost try to flip the snow over here near Lubbock and Odessa. Pretty wild stuff. I mean, and this is as far out as the HRRR model goes, 48 hours out. And listen, we're only focusing in on really the next 48 hours. As far as ice accumulations that I'm about to show you, I will go further out. But yeah, I mean, we stopped this Wednesday midday, and this is still a full-fledged winter storm, ongoing, full-fledged ice storm. It's probably beginning to warm up, but in general, it's still cold enough for freezing rain. So now let's talk about my folks in here in Kentucky and Tennessee and southern sections of Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio. Okay, you just finally that last little bit of frozen precipitation is moving through this evening, and immediately another one follows. So, you know, you're already seeing it in Evansville, southern sections of Indiana and Illinois. You know, you're dealing with sleet and freezing rain, a wintry mess. But as we get a little bit deeper into the night, this is around midnight tonight, you know, some areas might be seeing snow in Kentucky. Some areas might be seeing sleet, maybe a combination of both. This could be quite heavy too overnight. But I really think I have some pretty good confidence that if you're in the western counties and northwest counties of Tennessee, this is probably going to be more of just freezing rain, maybe mixing with some sleet overnight. You might go to sleep tonight here in western Tennessee and nothing might be going on. Then you'll wake up tomorrow morning in Memphis, which is down here in western Tennessee, and it's froze up. Everything's frozen. All surfaces are frozen. But, you know, this is around 3 o'clock in the morning tonight, and a wintry mess ongoing. I would argue that some of this green right here and areas of south and southeast Kentucky you're probably below freezing here. Okay, the models have already been handling this Arctic air pretty badly as far as, you know, basically it's colder in areas than what models are showing it's supposed to be. So we keep going here. This round moves out, and we'll be dealing with this throughout Tuesday morning. I can almost guarantee you there will even still be freezing drizzle lingering around. And then you think it's over, but nope. The Arctic air is surging a little bit further south, and another round of freezing rain starts to blast through western Tennessee, and this will be a little bit further south. So this will start to affect areas further south in Kentucky, and they'll start knocking on the door of Nashville, which in Nashville you do have a winter weather advisory for maybe a few 1/100ths of an inch of ice to maybe a 1/10 of an inch of ice. So a wintry mix begins to take hold of southern areas of Kentucky into eastern Kentucky. So we got to watch out, okay? But, you know, this is lasting through tomorrow afternoon, through overnight tomorrow, and then we're waking up Wednesday morning, and you still got frozen precipitation. I mean, it's even starting to sneak into areas of northern Alabama, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does Wednesday morning at all. And just not one bit, you know. But wintry mix still ongoing in Tennessee, most of the state, and then it finally dies out. Okay, you look at my folks in the Mid-Atlantic, trying to throw you folks in like Washington, D.C. I know you guys have not seen anything appreciable in a long time. I'm going to try to throw you a bone here. Here comes the round overnight. This will drop accumulating snow in portions of West Virginia, probably a wintry mix for areas. But then our Arctic boundary will continue to sag south. You're waking up some snow in West Virginia, southern sections of Ohio, southeast Ohio tomorrow morning. And then you continue, it might die off, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a wintry mix ongoing tomorrow afternoon in sections of the Delmarva area, maybe even northern VA, Maryland, eastern areas of West Virginia. I know it's not showing up much, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a wintry mix ongoing somewhere. It's not going to be substantial. But then we watch as we're getting into overnight tomorrow night, into Wednesday morning. This is when I think that Washington, D.C. will have a chance to see maybe a round of potentially accumulating snow. I'm not talking about several inches, but you could get a sneaky inch somewhere in Virginia, maybe a couple inches. This has the chance to uptrend. And I'm look, it's snowing in Delaware, and this is, you know, this would be for, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, it looks like you got some hefty snow moving into Delaware, the intercoastal regions of Maryland, and then is it going to sneak down to areas like Richmond, Virginia? It could potentially, but this shows an area of snow moving through, and then you got a wintry mix in between, moving through Virginia, the Delmarva area, areas of New Jersey, and then it kind of tapers off. Okay, so we'll talk about how much snow y'all could see from this here in a second, so bear with me. So let's talk about ice accumulations and then accumulations of any frozen precipitation in general. This is what it looks like for Texas, guys, the latest forecast. And let's make sure there's not another one that came out yet. And there is a latest one. Okay, so this is the latest one. It was showing, half inch to close to three-fourths of an inch ice totals around Dallas, but they've knocked it down a little bit, which I feel like is reasonable, but this could be more. But look right here in the heart of Texas. I mean, you're getting close, I would say, anywhere between Abilene down to, San Antonio, San Angelo, just basically the area in between all those towns I just mentioned. Somewhere right here in Texas is going to flirt with at least 3/4 of an inch of ice. Someone might get an inch of ice. And I can almost hear people saying it now, a half an inch of ice, Mitch, that's not a big deal. We're talking freezing rain, guys. We're not talking about snow. So think about how much weight is on these tree limbs when you put a half an inch of ice on all areas of tree limbs and power lines and things like that. So once you start to get to that 1/4 inch to half inch criteria of ice, that's when you're fully kind of right in the middle of an ice storm. Okay, so basically, if your area is calling for a 1/4 inch of ice or more, that's when you have issues. So we're going to see the power outages really go up tomorrow. The only thing that you can hope for is if somehow aloft it's colder and you get saved by sleet, and you get more sleet than maybe your area was forecasted. For example, it was a lot of reports of sleet, and continues to be reports of sleet in the Dallas area today, where I think maybe we were expecting a little bit more just of a freezing drizzle in Dallas. We had more of a wintry mix. So we have to see. So, it's crazy. Dallas and Fort Worth right here, like I said, 2 or 3 days ago, just a glaze ice was maybe forecasted. This has trended into something much more substantial. And I mean, it's shifted all the way to far areas of Northeast Texas, where there's a lot of heavily forested areas here in Northeast Texas and areas of southern Oklahoma, especially southeast Oklahoma. But man, look at this. You see these darker pinks right here? That's where potentially 3/4 of an inch of ice could fall. This is dangerous territory for you folks in Texas, guys. I mean, look in southern Oklahoma, widespread 1/4 to a half inch totals. Up here to Oklahoma City, maybe 1/10 of an inch to 2/10 of an inch. Okay, we go on and switch to Arkansas. Little Rock forecasted to see, and let's see if it's went up. Forecasted to see, and no changes. We're just going to keep it at 22Z. Forecast to see maybe 3/10 of an inch of ice in Little Rock. So over a 1/4 inch of ice. Same thing with Memphis. They're aiming for a little bit more in Memphis. So there's going to be a big time ice storm in these areas of central Arkansas, especially eastern Arkansas into western Tennessee. Okay, so, stop the frame here if you need to. But one thing I want to mention is the HRRR model with the sleet amounts. Okay, this is probably overdone. It takes a ton of sleet to get an inch of sleet, guys. A lot. Trust me. And sleet accumulates a lot differently than what freezing rain and snow does, right? It typically adds up on roadways first, depending on how heavy and how cold it is. But in general, just know I'm showing you this because it's going to be convective in nature, meaning you can have burst thunderstorms of sleet in certain sections of even Texas, to eastern Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, all the way up into Kentucky, southern sections of the Ohio Valley, okay? And you can have kind of spurts of heavy sleet. All right, so that is possible, and that's why I'm showing you. So the orange right here, that's potential sleet totals, but it's probably overdone. Even a half an inch of sleet, guys, is a lot of sleet. Snowfall totals, it's saying, hey, you could mix with a half inch to an inch of snow. So what I'm saying here is this area in southern Missouri, northern Arkansas is just going to be a wintry mix of everything. You're going to get a little bit of, well, not a little bit, but a little bit to a moderate amount of ice, some accumulating sleet, and a little bit of snow. And when you combine all that together, I know you're thinking, Mitch, that's not a lot. But when you combine all of them together and temperatures that are well below freezing, for example, those thunderstorms of sleet in Oklahoma this morning, it was in the teens, like 14, 15 degrees. I mean, it's just unreal. But, it happened. Ice storm totals for these sections, these could creep up, but for now, some pretty low end totals for Kentucky, anywhere from a few hundredths of an inch to maybe 2/10 of an inch of ice, especially the further west you go and southwest you go in Kentucky. But western counties of Tennessee, an all-out ice storm of a quarter inch of ice or more. And, around the Nashville area, maybe a 1/10 of an inch of ice. But this could go up. It could, guys. That's why I'm only focusing in on 48 hours out. Because it's just a changing situation. Same thing with sleet for you folks in Kentucky and surrounding states. You could get some hefty amounts of sleet. It's already sleeting like crazy in these sections right here of Indiana and Illinois this evening. But you could get a dusting to maybe a few, 2 or 3/10 of an inch of sleet. Okay. And then you could get some snow. Some snow is certainly possible in Kentucky. A little bit of slow or snow, whatever you want to call it. But snow forecast for my mid-Atlantic folks who are just begging for at least a few snowflakes. Hey, they're saying in Washington, D.C., maybe a 1/10 of an inch of snow to a 1/2 an inch of snow. That might be enough to put a coating on the grass. And somebody can overachieve here, guys. I really do think it's possible. For example, in Delaware, portions of Delaware, they're calling for close to an inch of snow now. And I go up to my folks in the Northeast, which I haven't really talked much on, and it's possible between now and Thursday evening. Watch out in southern sections of New Jersey and Delaware. Somebody can get a sneaky inch of snow from this. I think it's possible to likely. I do. So that's pretty much it on what's happening in the next 48 hours. And those ice totals that I showed, those are the ice totals for the entire duration of the event. So let's quickly go over what's going to happen with this potent shot of cold air this weekend. So what's happening here is basically a piece of the polar vortex. Basically, a piece of the North Pole is going to get thrown to the Northeast this weekend. So it drops down Friday, moves right over Saturday, and then heads on out by Sunday. So what does that mean? That means this big blob of blue you see here, just think of it as that, is going to deliver a quick but powerful shot of bitterly cold air for the Northeast. It could get extremely cold fast and then warm up pretty quickly. So how cold could it get? Well, we'll start off Wednesday evening of this week, and here it comes. If you got anything you need to get done, I would do it probably Wednesday or Thursday. And then Friday morning, we're waking up, and the Arctic air is starting to move through. You already got below zero temperatures starting to make its way into northern sections of New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And then by the time we're getting into Friday, the temperatures probably will drop during the day in most of the Northeast. And then by the time we get into Saturday morning, guys, the Euro, and this isn't just going to affect the Northeast either, guys. This is going to affect the Southeast too. It's going to deliver a very cold weekend for the Southeast. But the Euro is saying you're going to wake up to negative 15 degrees in Boston. You're going to get below zero in New York City. Single digits as far south as maybe Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. And look at these high temperatures. High temperatures, maybe single digits from New York City to Boston. High temperatures maybe only in the 20s and 30s as far south as North Carolina. High temperatures only in the 30s and 40s for Georgia. Okay, there's going to be an intense high pressure, very strong high pressure right up here. So it's funneling the cold air in from the Northeast. That's why it's only kind of blasting these areas of the eastern U.S. So this moves through. Another really cold night for Sunday morning, but it's a big time fleeting system. It moves on out, and you turn around, you warm right back up Sunday, and you might get back into the 40s for the areas that didn't even get out the single digits the day before. And then, heck, by the time you're getting into Monday, by the time you're getting to Tuesday, you're warming back up into the 60s. So one thing we also watch is as this high pressure flies through, look how quick. This is that high pressure delivering that intense shot of cold air for the Northeast. This will cause an intense cold air damming event. A ton of cold air gets thrown east of the Appalachian Mountains as far southwest as Atlanta, Georgia. Can we get any kind of low pressure? If any kind of low pressure tries to develop down here, and there is a piece of energy flirting with that, you would get a major winter storm for the Southeast. But as of right now, no models show it. Some of the ensemble members do show something but it isn't enough to really talk about, guys. It really isn't. So that's all I got, guys. I managed to do this video in 25 minutes. I feel like I did a decent job at giving you some good information in that amount of time. Stay safe out there. This is an evolving situation, guys. It really is. So stay safe out there. God bless y'all, and have yourselves a safe and great night.